What's up, everybody? I have been raiding a lot this week over all of my accounts, and I have had the wonderful pleasure of being a part of a lot of public raid groups. Oh, yes, we're gonna see some of the crazy things that they brought in. Oh God, I'm gonna have nightmares for months now. I'm gonna have nightmares. So I thought I would go over some of the units that are not really so good in raids, and explain why, and then go over the fundamentals of what units are good in raids, basically what you should look for, etc., etc. These are actual, disclaimer, these are actual units that people brought into raids. Not joking, it's not sarcasm, it's not, this is actual, so brace yourself. Okay. If you're new to the game, you don't understand why they're bad, and I understand that, but if you've like are seasoned veteran, you're gonna look at these and you're gonna be like, that's no one brought that in. Really? They brought that in? Okay. Anyway. This is why public groups are very scary. First one, Pungbek. Oh, Pungbek. It's not that not that Pungbek's a bad unit. Pungbek's a great arena offense unit. He's a great Guardian level arena offense unit. Like, I rush, and Pungbek's one of my favorite rush units for high-level arena offense for rush hour. Pungbek is not a great R5 unit, though. Why? No significant debuffs. He's got the skill 2. He does 1 block beneficial effects. That doesn't really do anything to the boss, but it will help things like Xiaolin, if you're using a Xiaolin, that do damage based on the amount of enemy debuffs. But you also have a splash damage with the skill 3. Skill 1 is not going to sleep anything. So, basically, guys, if you don't know, freezes, stuns, sleeps, not really that relevant on the boss. I think maybe you thought that he's just got high resistance and he doesn't usually land asleep. He actually cannot be slept. Crazy, I know. It's ridiculous to think that. But yeah, we'll get. Oh, there's more that people are trying to CC the boss as well for whatever reason. But anyway, yeah, better picks for DPS, because Pungbek, if you're bringing him in, you want him to do the damage. Better picks for DPS units: Brandia, Second Awakened Crow, Xiaolin, Argon. Argon, when Vampire, a lot of people like, oh, Argon, he's just fusion for, yeah, but he's also good for something like R5. He's good Rift. He's good for Giants, and he's not good for everything. He's good for Giants. And he's good for R5 and some of the Rift Beasts he's good for. Because he does big damage based on the enemy's debuffs, and he does some debuffs himself. As well as Second Awakened Eileen, the Wind Fairy. I always say pixies when the fairies. Wind, because they have the pixie cut. Anyway, Wind Fairy. So, people have been using her. I have not built her myself, but people have been using her. They've been saying they like her. But anyway, those are some better options for those. Second one, Lucian. I mean, I know people are like, I love Lucian. In their defense, he does have a couple debuffs. He's got the heal block, which is a good debuff on skill 1. He can do slow. He can do a glancing hit on skill 2. So that's not terrible, but his AoE, you don't really. There's just better options for that. There's better options. He's got the 2 debuffs, but aside from that, like, Argon is a better option than Lucian. Argon's gonna do more damage and a little bit more debuffs situation. So better picks, Brandy. So we already talked about the better picks as far as DPS units are concerned. But yeah, this was actually a unit that someone tried. Really, I'm screen capping the ones that people actually picked and brought into raids. Not joking. Rina. Rina kind of doesn't do anything. Like, here's the thing. Like, you look at the contribution. Contribution is amount of debuffs, right? And amount of damage. So Rina has got like no contribution. She puts like no contribution at all into it. Which is fine. Some units don't do a lot of contribution. Like, for example, Mi Yang really doesn't do that much contribution. She's got 1 debuff, but she does have a cleanse, and that's kind of nice. It's kind of very nice, actually. She's got a cleanse heal. So if you have support units that do a cleanse heal, or damage mitigation or something like that, it's not necessarily, they're not showing the debuffs that they're not showing the contribution that they're doing, but Rina's not a good raid monster. Yeah, I think I think that the person brought her into tank, but there's better stuff. Darien, Diaz, Skogul, Xiangfei. Skogul at least does huge damage. You want to kill the boss. You don't want to just like you don't want it to be a 20-minute raid team. Like, why would you want a 20-minute run? Like, yeah, I'm gonna bring this Rina in. It's gonna be very like, no. Darien, especially on Revenge, Darien is nice. Diaz, because they're tanky units that do damage mitigation as well. Skogul, he does big damage. But look at the things that I'm saying are better picks. Skogul does damage. Darien Diaz has multiple damage mitigation and multiple debuffs. Xiangfei, very tanky unit for the front line. He also has a leader skill and multiple debuffs. Diaz and Skogul both have leader skills as well. So some of these tanky units, you want to at least have leader skills because you want to at least have options for your leader skills in raids. This one, I think in a long time ago, we actually tried using him, like legitimately, like even like when raids first came out, like my friends and I were like, what about Brian? We learned early on, the revive is deadly for us. The revive is 2 debuffs and a leader skill. That's not bad. That's not that bad. Not that bad. But revive is very dangerous. Very dangerous. Because he just revives and he bounces all the HP, and then like the boss comes in and just wipes everyone out easily. So, not super great. Better picks, Diaz, because Diaz has leader skill as well as debuffs, and he will stop your team from taking the damage right before you even. Yeah, just Diaz. If you're gonna use Brian, use Diaz instead. Unless you don't have Diaz. If you don't have Diaz, use the Darien. But if you're trying to think about like, oh well, what happens if we die? We need to revive. Don't get to the point where you die. That's kind of the key. Is don't get to the point where you start to die, because then it's like a downhill battle. So try to protect yourself from dying by giving the boss glancing hit, attack break, and then making sure your team is tanky enough, well statted enough with high value runes, right? They don't necessarily have to. I mean, you could be kind of flexible with these R5 units, right? For the most part, as long as they have good stats. Stats, you can get away with some weird things, right? And those new sets are also nice. Like if you have some of the new sets that like gives team HP, team attack, like fight runes, of course. But like even the ones that give your team defense and team HP, those are actually pretty nice for raids. So especially on things like Xiangfei, Darien, Diaz, especially things like that. Those are nice to have those new sets on. So just FYI. Woosa! Oh, Woosa. So many of you pick Woosa. So many of you pick Woosa. So many of you pick Woosa. Okay, why? No debuffs. It's not gonna sleep the boss, right? No damage. He's not that second skill's not doing. But he's immunity, Bagel. That's the point of the Woosa, is for immunity. Cleanse is better than immunity. This is not Giant Speed 10. Let me explain why cleanse is better than immunity. If we go, this is the one, right? If we go here to Rageful Roar. Pay attention to Rageful Roar. I'm gonna read it for you. Becomes enraged whenever an enemy gets turned. The skill will activate automatically when enraged 16 times. Removes all beneficial effects and attacks all enemies to inflict damage. Recovers the HP in proportion to the number of removed beneficial effects. So he's gonna suck that up and he's gonna say, hey, guess what? I'm gonna heal for all the damage that Woosa was trying to prevent. So, yeah. Woosa, not the greatest. Better to have a cleanser. Cleanser. Very nice. Better picks, Lisa, Konamiya, Annabelle, Mia, and Konamiya. I have Konamiya there twice. I didn't even notice that. What was supposed to be there? I don't know. There's other stuff. We'll go over other picks in addition to that. Ravidi and Fedora even. Like, Fedora's, I've seen people run Fedora. I've seen people run speed teams with Fedora too. Like, triple DPS Fedora speed teams. Excuse me. It's crazy, but Fedora, because he has 3 debuffs, right? He's got the attack buff, defense, attack break, defense break, heal block. And he's got a leader skill, and he's got the cleanse immunity, right? So he's got the two buffs, but he's got the cleanse is the more important part. So anyway, yeah, those are the better picks. Ravidi also, Ravidi's the Windhard. He's defense-based unit, so you can put him in the front line. He also has second skill will reduce the attack gauge and slow, so it stops the boss from moving as much. And then he's got the cleanse and the shield, but most importantly that he has the cleanse. He's a defense tank that can be used in the front line, and he's got the leader skill. He's got a leader skill, so he's still at least a better pick. Camilla, this is another one I see so much. Like, if you're like, I use Camilla, I use Woosa, there's a lot of people that use Camilla and Woosa, attempt to use Camilla and Woosa, and then they're like, my team can't get, but like, anyway, Camilla, why? 1 debuff, very little damage. Not really. I don't know if a Camilla, I don't know why people are picking Camilla. Like, is it supposed to be a tank? I think maybe it's supposed to be a tank that they feel can do a little bit of damage. It doesn't really do that much damage though, and there's better tanks. So Zhang Fei, Darien, Diaz, etc. are better tanks if that's what people are picking these Camillas for. But yeah, not great. Veromos, another very common one. Really very common. I don't know why, but very common. Well, I do know why, because you think about it, you're like, okay, I got a leader skill and he's going to cleanse debuffs, but the boss also puts on Oblivion too, so he seems like he makes sense, like I understand the reasoning behind it, but it's just better to have a cleanse, right? But cleanse, especially cleanse that heals, or Lisa, one of the nice things about Lisa, the Fire Neostone agent, is she will reduce the cooldowns on your allies when she brings them with him, so that's kind of nice for things that do. Also, if she brings along the DPS units, that's extra damage. So, yeah, some of those units are better than Veromos. Just better options. Ariel, another one, very common, very common. Why? No debuffs, no damage. He doesn't do. Ariel's not a damage dealer. It's better to have Colleen. Colleen is a better pick. Actually, I should have also said Bella's not that bad either. As far as a healer, especially second awakened Bella is nice, because Bella's at least got a defense break. So Bella's got a defense break, attack age reduction now too, and a big heal. So, and Bella I think has decent base defense, so you could even stick Bella in the if you have good stats on Bella, you can stick Bella in the front line. So I would still prefer Colleen though, but if you happen to have, I don't know, if you have the other debuffs covered, because the heal block and attack break, very nice. Very nice. That's really part of the reason that there's so many people using Colleen in raids, is because those two debuffs are very important to have. Debuffs are key. They're hoping to freeze the boss. They're hoping to what's his name? Kizar Kajul. They're hoping to freeze Kizar Kajul with Varad. I mean, at least he has attack bar reduction on skill 3 and a leader skill, but no debuffs. You kind of want the debuffs. I mean, you really want the debuffs. Very little damage. You want debuffs and you want damage. Debuffs, damage, cleanse, damage mitigation, defense tanks for the front line. Like, that's basically the meat and potatoes of it. Better picks, Hua, Lume, and Lauren are really good picks. Even Lauren got buffed. Oh my god. Lauren got buffed. But all three of those, they do damage, they do debuffs, and they do attack age reduction. Two of them is part of their passives. Lume also has if she's on cooldown, she'll revenge too. But Lume, the light Kung Fu girl, if you don't know, she's actually pretty nice for raids. Yeah, not for red. Sigmaris and Lin. Okay, so Sigmaris and Lin, I've seen some people use these as well. Why? HP-based damage is nerfed. Better picks for big DPS, because I'm assuming you want them to be big DPS units. You're not trying to freeze or stun. I mean, people might be trying to freeze or stun the boss, but Xiaolin, Second Awakened Crow, Brandy, Eileen, Argon, all things that do damage based on the amount of debuffs, because you should be doing a lot of debuffs to the boss. That's kind of the point of R5. Since he's going to suck up all your things and he's going to give you debuffs, the best thing to do is to debuff the boss and make him as weak as possible. Because he doesn't have immunity. He doesn't have immunity, so just debuff away, debuff away. And then damage based on the amount of debuffs that they have is so great. So great. But this Rule of Chaos passive, 3 heads of the boss will share the attack bar at the start of the battle, blah, blah, blah. Attacks. Also, the boss will mitigate HP proportionate damage it receives by sharing a single HP among the 3 heads. That's why HP-based damage does not do as good in raids. So, I mean, they'll still do some damage, but it's not going to be as crazy as you kind of want them to be, right? So that's one of the things, like, when raids came out, they were like, Conscious was like, okay, we have to do something to stop people from just using HP-based damage to just nuke this. Even though we found ways to nuke it anyway. They kind of wanted to prevent that. Actually, that's it, right? Those are the. I just try to do a top 10 list. There's so many other. I was inspired actually to do this because I had someone use a Chiwu. I know he's not on the list. Chiwu's also bad, but I couldn't, like, not anyone else wasn't as daring enough to use a Chiwu in raids after that. But that inspired me to be like, let me make a video on this because let me make a video on this. The Chiwu, let's talk briefly about the Chiwu. What are you trying to strip? I'm very curious. What, if you think he has buffs on the boss, maybe you need glasses. I don't know what you're trying to think. First skill, let me strip the boss and put him to sleep. Let me know how that works out for you. I don't know. But anyway, I feel like I'm being so mean, but someone brought a Chiwu, and I feel like if they bring a Chiwu into raids, then you should be mean to you opened up the door, all right? You opened up the door. Anyway, let's go over the fundamentals. Frontline defense tanks. Xiangfei, Darien, Diaz, Skogul. Skogul's actually been doing pretty good. Wang, Fire Monkey. Hybrid Regal, the Water Lich, is actually pretty nice. I was using him in what's his face on Europe server because I had one built for Necropolis, and then I was like, and he was changed. He was changed to his stacks. If you guys don't know, let's take a look at the Regal. Regalino. I don't know where to find him. What? I feel like I keep missing. Yeah, do I really keep missing? Oh no, he's over there. Okay. New. End of Evolution. Gains immunity against inability effects. Decreases chances of being attacked by critical hit by 25%. Increase your attack power and defense by 10% whenever you receive an attack that does not land as a critical hit. Stacks up to 10 times. Similar to the monkey. Similar to Artemiel. As far as stacking. Keep stacking. So his defense is going to be... He needs to be a hybrid, though. Not a full DPS unit. If he's going to be the front line... Because you want it to be the front line, but you want him to have enough defense... to have enough tankiness... So like HP crit damage attack or defense crit damage attack. I don't know what mine... Let me actually see what mine has. It's a different one that's not on the thing though. That's not hooked up to the screen. Let me see what... Yeah, HP crit damage attack is what I have on. So. Anyway. So that's not bad for frontline. I've found that that's not bad for frontline either. Silver, which is the living armor, just in general, single target DPS defense tanks that have debuffs. So try to make them bring something to the table, either damage or multiple debuffs or damage mitigation, right? Because Diaz and Darren have damage mitigation. Cleansers, Lisa, Annabelle, Ravidi, Konamiya, Miang, Amarna, which I forgot to mention earlier. Light Homie has a cleanse, right? Yeah. I mean, that's why I put her on there. Delphoy, Jameer's actually... I forgot about that until the end. I was like, Jameer has a cleanse. His HP-based damage is not really as big of a thing, but at least he has the attack break. And he's got the cooldown reduction, right? So that's kind of nice. Damage dealers, Xiaolin, Crow, Second Awakened Crow, Brandia, Eileen, Argon, Dark Homunculus also does big damage based on the amount of enemy debuffs. Firewind Homunculus also do big damage based on enemy debuffs. Tessarion. Remember Tessarion's passive. Where's Tessarion? Tessarion increases the damage inflicted on enemies with harmful effects by 30%. You're not using him for Oblivion. It would just be for the leader skill, the defense break. He's not premium unit. There's way better units as far as DPS units. But if you're looking for a resistance lead that has a defense break that also can do a little bit of damage and has decent base stats. Tessarion's got decent base stats. He's got so he'll be okay. He's not the premium one. You want to eventually go to something else, but he could be usable for a bit in the beginning when you're getting into it. What else? Other Kung Fu girls are not bad either. Damage based on enemy debuffs is big. If they have multiple debuffs like defense break, attack break, heal block, glancing, slow, etc. are very important too. DPS attack gauge reduction, like for another DPS unit, attack gauge reduction is great. Hua, you see a lot of people using Hua, Lorne, Lume, right? Because you can attack gauge reduce the boss as well. So, and then for healers, Colleen, since she provides 2 critical debuffs and 2-way Bella, Second Awaken Bella, which is just a better version of the... I mean, the Second Awaken units are just better versions, better statted. Sometimes the stats... I don't want to say sometimes the stats matter. In R5, the stats really matter, right? So having the right units isn't big enough. You need to have them well statted. Sometimes you can get away with not having them on, like, specifically, like, oh, this is supposed to be, like, if Vampire Xiaolin, everyone likes to run Vampire Xiaolin. She doesn't need to be Vampire. You can run her with other stuff as long as she has good stats. If you got weird things, I think my Hua has, like, double guard blade or something like that. But you look at her and you're like, that's double guard blade. Like, her stats are really, she's got really nice stats. You wouldn't think that she was on double guard blade, but it's just very good beefy runes. Beefy runes. But anyway, I think that's about it. I think that's what I wanted to. What do you guys think? What other options do you think that I missed as far as some of the great R5 units that are viable that I like? Different cleansers and defense tanks and things. I mean, this basically covers all of it. Like, people probably have... If you don't have these units, you should have some combination of these. You should have some combination. And make sure they're well statted. Make sure they're 6-starred, awakened. Some of them need skill ups. Some of them can get away with not having skill ups. Like Diaz, you don't need skill ups on him. Fire Panda, you don't need skill ups on him. As long as they're well statted. Darien, there's no reason you shouldn't have skill ups on him because he's super easy to get skill ups for. But the cleansers, you need them to be skilled up. And the DPS units are really great to have skilled up as well. Like, why you can get away with not having skilled up, but your other big, beefy DPS units and your cleansers, at least their cleanse skills, need to be skilled up. Anyway, let me know what you think about the video, etc., etc. Hopefully it helps some people. I kind of wanted to make this into like a half joke and half like, okay, if we're gonna joke about it and yell at people for picking the wrong picks, at least help them like choose better. So anyway, hopefully it helps. I don't know if it does. Probably Bagel just yapping as he usually does. Anyway, I will see you as always in the next one.